In the quiet town of Nekede, there lived a young good boy named Chidinjo. Chidinjo lived with his mother and other siblings. Life was anything but easy for them. Chidinjo had once been a carefree boy, but that was before his father left them to the city. Papa had walked out 3 years ago chasing after a young rich woman who lived in the city, leaving Adora to fend for herself and her children. Chidundu resented him deeply. Her mother Adora sold akara by the roadside not too far from their house, but the income barely kept the family afloat. Every morning, Chidundu woke early to help his mother fetch water or prepare her frying station before heading off to school. Chiji, Biko, don't forget to fetch enough water for me, Adora reminded him, her voice tinged with exhaustion yet laced with love. Yes, Mama, he replied, adjusting his tattered school uniform. Chidu's heart sank as he noticed his mother coughing weakly one early morning. Mama, are you okay? He asked, kneeling beside her. Adora nodded, though her face was pale. I'm fine, Chiji. I'm just tired. Chiji didn't believe her. She had been sick for days, but they didn't have enough money to take her to the hospital. He stood up, determined to find a way to help. After school that day, Chindo and Ezenaya walked home together. Ezenaya was his best friend and classmate. Ezenaya was 13, an orphan who lived with his grandmother, Mama Nkoli. She sold vegetables at the market, but just like Adora, she struggled to make ends meet. Chiji, you're quiet today. What's wrong? Ezenaya asked. Chijindo sighed. Mama is sick, and there's no food at home. I don't know what to do. This morning, my brother Nana, he was just crying, and Oyidia was just looking at him. We didn't eat anything at all yesterday, because Mama came home early. She was too sick to stay for long and sell her akara. Ezenaya looked at him pathetically. He handed him 200 naira note. I don't know if this will help. There's something I've been doing in recent times and I've been using it to eat well, oh, he said, smiling. I don't know. You may not like it. What is it? Chidindo asked, curious. I pick small nails and metals on the street and sell them. I've seen other boys do it. They make small money. Akbakara! Chidindo said, screaming. Yes, now. There's money in it too. On a good day, I make like 2,000 naira. The other days, I come with 500 or 200. And I know that my nene does not make up to that profit in her vegetable business. If you would like to join me, you can come later this evening. Let's go around. At least raise some money for food for you and your siblings. Chijindo frowned. The idea of running around the streets picking up metals embarrassed him. But the thought of his siblings going hungry hurt him even more. I'll think about it, he muttered as they parted ways. As Chijindo removed his school uniform, he heard the cries of his siblings close to their mother. Mommy, I'm hungry, Nana, their 4-year-old brother, cried, dragging his mother's feet. Adora lay weakly in bed. Chijindo entered her mother's room. Hunger gnawed at his stomach, and his mother's weak coughs echoed in the room. He couldn't let things stay like this. He had to do something. The sun barely went down when Chijindo left the house. His mother was still asleep, her labored breathing filling the small room. His siblings had slept off after several cries that didn't yield any result. With a sack slung over his shoulder, Chijindo walked through the streets of Nekede. He had never done anything like this before, and his heart pounded with a mix of fear, embarrassment, and determination. He spotted his first piece of metal near a pile of trash, a rusty soda can. Bending down to pick it up, he glanced around, feeling a wave of shame. What if someone I know sees me, he thought. But then he remembered his mother's pale face and his siblings' hungry cries. The sun was setting as Chijindo moved from one street to another, picking up scraps of metal, bent nails, old spoons, broken wires. By evening, his sack was half full and he was drenched in sweat. Chiji! His familiar voice called out. He turned to see Ezenaya jogging towards him, carrying his own sack. You finally started, Ezenaya said, smiling. Chidindu nodded. I didn't have a choice. Mama is very sick and we don't have food in the house. Ezenaya patted his shoulder. Don't worry. It gets easier. I'll show you where to sell these ones you've made. Together, they walked to a small junk shop at the edge of the town. The shopkeeper, a gruff, elderly man with a thick beard, weighed their sacks and handed them each 500 naira. Chidu stared at the money in his hands, a mix of relief and sadness washing over him. He now had 700 naira. It's something, Zenaya said, sensing his thoughts. At least now you can buy food. That evening, Chidu returned home with 2 cups of garri and a small packet of sugar. His siblings cheered as he walked through the door. Mama, look! Chidi bought food! Nana exclaimed. Adora tried to sit up, her eyes filled with pride and worry. Chidi, where did you get the money? Mama, don't worry, I found a way, he said, forcing a smile. As they ate their modest meal, Chidi felt a spark of hope. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Days turned into weeks, and Chidindu grew used to his new routine. Each evening, after school, he roamed the streets with his sack, picking metals. When he was done, he would wait for Ezenaya, and they would sell their collections to the junk shop. With every sale, Chidindu brought home something new. A handful of beans, a piece of yam, or sometimes even biscuits for his younger brother Nana. Slowly their meals improved. Instead of one sparse meal a day, they began having 2 still modest but enough to keep their spirits alive. One afternoon after school, Chidindu and Ezenaya sat under a mango tree counting the money they had earned. Chidi, you're getting good at this, Ezenaya said with a grin. Chidindu chuckled. I don't have a choice, my family depends on me. Ezenaya nodded, his face thoughtful. I wish I could do more for my grandma too. She works so hard, but her vegetable sales barely cover anything. You're already helping, Chidindu said. We are both doing what we can. But the weight of their struggles was never far away. That evening, as Chidindu walked home, he noticed how tired his mother looked. Though she tried to hide it, her illness hadn't improved at all. She coughed more frequently now and would sometimes even vomit. Mama, you need to see a doctor, Chidindu said, his voice firm. Adora shook her head. Doctors, we can't afford that, Chidi. Don't worry, I'll manage. No, Mama, he insisted. I'll find a way. You just need to rest. Don't worry. The pressure mounted at Chidindu realized that their small earnings from scrap metals wouldn't be enough for much longer. The 2,000 naira they scrapped together each week barely covered food, let alone medicine. One night, as he lay on his mat, staring at the ceiling, he thought about their future, how long he could keep living like this. What else could he do to help? The next morning, Ezenaya brought up an idea. Chiji, what if we start collecting more than just metals? Let's add plastics now. It could give us a little more money. Chidindu hesitated. Wouldn't that take more time? And what if people start chasing us away? Ezenaya shrugged. Well, let's try. It's worth the risk. Chidindu agreed, and the two friends set out on a new mission. They scoured the streets not just for metals but for anything that could be sold. Broken buckets, empty bottles, discarded toys, nothing was off limits. Though the work was hard and more exhausting, the extra money made a difference. That evening, Chidindu bought drugs for his mother at a pharmacy close to their house. Excited that his mother may finally regain her health and at least continue taking care of the family. For the first time in months, Chidindu felt a glimmer of hope. But deep down, he knew this was only the beginning. Chidindu's days were a whirlwind of responsibility. In the mornings, he attended school, in the evening he picked, and afterwards made their usual trips to the junk shop with Ezenaya. Though they earned more now by collecting plastics, it still wasn't enough to meet all the needs at home. One afternoon, as Chidindu returned home with a small bag of rice and a tin of oil, he heard his younger siblings laughing. He paused at the door, smiling at the sound. It was rare these days. Chidi is back. Chidi is back. Nana ran up to him, his face lighting up. Did you bring anything for us? Oyidia, his younger sister, asked, peeking around the corner. Chidu pulled out a small packet of sweets from his pocket. Only if you promise to finish your homework first, he teased. The children squealed in excitement, and for a moment their house didn't feel so heavy with sadness. But inside, Adora was coughing again. The sound was harsher, deeper, and it sent a chill down Chijindu's spine. Mama, looks like the drugs I got didn't help at all. The sickness is persisting. Maybe we need to visit a hospital. You really need help, he said, his voice firm. Adora shook her head as always. Don't worry, we don't have money, we'll manage, Chiji. God will help heal me. Chijindu clenched his fist. He wanted to believe her, but faith alone hadn't stopped her health from worsening. At school the next day, Chijindu's thoughts were elsewhere. He barely heard the teacher's voice as he stared out the window, thinking about how to earn more money to help his sick mother. After the lesson, Ezinaya touched him. Chiji, what's wrong with you? Chiji nodded. It's Mama. She's getting worse. I don't know what else to do. Ezinaya thought for a moment. Have you considered finding a job? Maybe if you get a job, you can start working and earn money to take her to the hospital. Chidu looked at him unsure. Do you think anyone will hire me at my age? Chidu retorted, it's what a try, you can try. Let's ask around after school. That evening, the two friends walked around naked, visiting shops and kiosks, but most of the owners shook their head unwilling to hire a small boy. Maybe tomorrow, Chijindu said with a sigh as they headed home. But even as he spoke, his mind was racing. He couldn't afford to give up. His family needed him, and he was determined to find a way to help them. The next day after school, Chidindu and Ezinaya again resumed their search for a job. They wandered through the dusty streets, peeking into shops and asking for opportunities. Shop owners gave them the same response. There is no vacancy. As the sun began to set, Chijindu's heart sank. He hated going home empty-handed, especially with his mother's health deteriorating. Maybe this isn't going to work, he said, leaning against the wall. Don't give up yet, Ezinaya replied, ever the optimist. We haven't tried every shop. Just then, he noticed a small computer service and accessories shop near the Nekede Polytechnic. The shop wasn't fancy, but it buzzed with activity. Students from the Polytechnic were typing documents and making photocopies. Let's try it there, Ezinaya said. Chijindu hesitated. Do you think they will hire someone like me? You won't know now if you don't ask, Ezinaya said, pushing him forward. Inside the shop, a middle-aged man with glasses was busy attending to customers. When the rush died down, Chijindu stepped forward nervously. Good evening, sir, he began, clutching his hands together. The man looked up, adjusting his glasses. Yes, what can I do for you? I'm looking for a job, sir, Chijindu said quickly. I can clean, run errands, or help with anything you need. The man studied him for a moment, then asked, How old are you? 14, sir, Chijindu replied, standing as tall as he could. 14? The man raised an eyebrow. Shouldn't you be in school? I used to be in school, sir, but I can't afford it any longer. My dad is late, and my mom is very sick, Chijindu explained. But you are still very, very young. The man sighed, scratching his chin. I need someone to help me with cleaning and running small errands. I'll pay you 20,000 naira a month. Can you handle that? Chijindu's eyes widened. Yes, sir, I can. All right, the man said. You start tomorrow. Don't be late. Chijindu couldn't believe his luck. He thanked the man profusely before leaving the shop. Outside, Ezinaya was anxiously waiting. How did he go now? Ezinaya asked. I got the job! Chijindu exclaimed, grinning from ear to ear. Ezinaya clapped him on the back. I told you to walk! For the first time in a long while, Chidu felt hope blooming in his chest. He rushed home to share the good news with his mother, who smiled weakly at him, pride shining in his eyes. The next morning, Chidu woke up before dawn. He quickly fetched water for the community well, tidied the house, and prepared some garri for his siblings. His mother lay on her mat, her weak voice calling out to him, Chidi, don't overwork yourself, my son. "I'll be fine, Mama," he said, forcing a smile. "Rest. I'll take care of everything." By the time he arrived at the computer shop, the sun was just beginning to rise. The shopkeeper, Mr. Ike, was already there, organizing the shelves. "You're early," Mr. Ike said, surprised. "I don't want to disappoint you," Chijindu replied. Mr. Ike handed him a broom and dustpan. "Good. Start by sweeping the shop." Chijindu threw himself into the work with enthusiasm. He swept, mopped, and arranged the chairs neatly for customers. By the time the shop opened, it sparkled like new. Throughout the day, Chidu ran errands for Mr. Ike and carried out small tasks like handing out photocopies to students. At first, the customers barely noticed him, but as the days passed, they began to warm up to him. "Small boy, you're hardworking, oh," the student remarked, dropping a 500 naira tip into Chijindu's hands after he helped him buy his project. "Thank you so much, sir," Chijindu said, his heart swelling with pride. By the end of the first month, Chidu had not only earned his salary, but also collected tips that amounted to an additional 15,000 naira. He rushed home, clutching the money tightly. That evening, he bought rice, beans, and some vegetables from the market. When he got home, his siblings' eyes lit up as he unpacked the food. "Chiji, you are the best brother in the world," Nana shouted, hugging him. His mother, though weak, managed to smile. "You a blessing to this family, my son." As they sat down to eat, Chijindu felt a sense of fulfillment. His family had a decent meal, and Chijindu started making plans to save for her mother's visit to the hospital. As months passed, Mistike noticed Chijindu's dedication to work and began sending him to do more work. Chijindu became familiar at the computer shop. Students and customers alike were impressed by his diligence and politeness. Some even sought him out specially to handle their transactions. Among these customers was a group of flashy students who always stood out. They arrived in sleek cars, wore designer clothes, and carried the latest phones. Chidindu couldn't help but notice how they tipped generously, often handing him 10,000 naira just for fetching a pen or helping with a photocopy. One afternoon, after the shop had quieted down, one of the students smiled at Chijindu. "Small boy, you're too smart for this place, oh. Why are you wasting your time here?" Chijindu hesitated. "I need the money, oh. I need it to take care of my family." The student, who introduced himself as Ese, chuckled. "That's noble, but there are faster ways to make money, you know." Chijindu's curiosity was piqued, but he said nothing. Later that evening, he told Eze about the encounter. The two boys sat under a tree by the roadside watching the occasional cars pass by. "Eze and his friends gave me another 10k today, oh," Chidu said, showing the money. "Guy, if you see those boys, their clothes, their shoes, their phones, and the cars they drive, now wow, omo. I don't know how they make so much money. And they're still students, so small boys." Eze's eyes sparkled with interest. "Maybe you should ask them now. What if they have a job we can both do?" Chijindu frowned. "But what if it's something bad?" "Do you think people get rich without taking risks?" Eze argued. "We're already struggling, Chijindu. What's the harm in finding out?" The conversation left Chijindu conflicted. He couldn't deny the temptation of earning more money quickly, especially with his mother's health still fragile and his siblings relying on him. The next time Eze came to the shop, Chindu worked up the courage to ask, "What do you guys do for a living?" Eze smiled. "You really want to know?" Chindu nodded hesitantly. "All right," Eze said, lowering his voice. "Come and meet me beside the school gates by 4 p.m. tomorrow, but only come if you're ready for it." That evening, immediately after Chijindu closed the shop, he rushed to Ezenaya. "I've been asked to come, oh. That guy wants to show me how he makes his money. He said I should come by 4 p.m. Ezenaya looked at him with excitement in his face. "I'm not missing this opportunity for anything in the world. I am coming with you." That night, Chijindu lay awake, torn between the lure of wealth and the fear of what he might be walking into. The following day, Chijindu struggled to focus at work. His mind kept drifting to Eze's cryptic promise. By the time the shop closed, he had made up his mind to meet Eze, but certainly wasn't going without Ezenaya. He waited for him to come before closing up the shop. So are we going to meet him? Ezenaya asked, his voice tinged with excitement. Chidindu hesitated. I don't know. What do you think? What if this means trouble? Ezenaya placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Look, Chidi, my friend. You've been doing everything alone. You've carried this family on your back. Don't you think it's time some things change? Chidindu sighed. You're right too. Alright. But if it's anything bad, I am walking away. The two boys set off to meet Izzy at a secluded spot near the main road. The air was thick with anticipation and neither spoke much during the walk. When they arrived, Izzy was leaning against his sleek back car, typing on his phone. He looked up and grinned when he saw them. So you came, Izzy said, his voice smooth and confident. He opened the car door and gestured for them to sit inside. Before I tell you anything, you need to understand that this isn't for the faint-hearted. If you are not ready to make sacrifices, you can leave now. What kind of sacrifice? Chidindu asked cautiously. Relax, Eze said with a laugh. No one's asking you to kill anyone. It's just, let's call it a hustle. Yahoo Plus. Chidindu froze. He had heard whispers about Yahoo Plus, a dark, more evil version of internet fraud. Wait, Ezenaya said, leaning forward. Doesn't that involve rituals? Eze smirked. Not the kind you're thinking of. Look, boys, if you want to stay poor forever, that's your choice. But if you're serious about changing your lives, it's super easy. I will take you guys to meet Ezenaya. She will give you the instructions. It takes courage, but trust me, you don't have to bring virgins or newborn babies or anything. It's just simple rituals like bathing in the river and the like. I don't know what it will be for you because it's different for everyone, he said cautiously. Are you guys ready to meet her? He asked. Yes, Ezenaya answered sharply. Good. Then meet me here in 7 days, he said. Okay, they answered in unison as they opened the door to leave. One more thing. You have to stay indoors for 7 days before meeting Ezenaya. It's a cleansing ritual and also reduce your communications with people. That way, the cleansing ritual will work faster. He continued. Just be sure to meet me at first light next week. Not here, oh. I will text you the place, he said, handing them a small phone. As Eze drove away, the boys watched in silence. Are we really considering this? Chidindu finally asked. Ezenaya nodded. I am, oh. Aren't you tired of suffering, Chidindu? This might be our only way out. Imagine now, you have all the money to solve all your problems, eh? Buy a house, buy clothes, take your mom to a good hospital. Why are you even afraid? Don't you want to be a billionaire? I don't like this type of thing. Your fellow men are doing it. Please, you need to be a man. Oh. Be a man. You're not a small boy any longer. We've got 7 days of cleansing to do. After that, we'll be very rich, Ezenaya said excitedly. Chidindu nodded, but didn't feel the same excitement. I hope this works. I hope it works, Naya. 7 days later, Chidindu and Ezenaya walked silently as they approached the bridge, where Eze had texted them they'll be meeting. Chidindu was full of thought. Chiji, what's going on? You're acting like we are about to do something very terrible, Ezenaya teased, but his voice held an edge of excitement. Chidindu didn't answer him. He was tired of listening to Ezenaya's endless chats about how many cars, houses, and clothes he'll be using his money on. The only thought in his mind was his mother. He needed to take her to a hospital and fast and give her the treatment she deserved. He knew it wouldn't come cheap. Just as they were about to cross the lonely tarred road leading to the bridge, a woman approached them. She was wearing a white gown dressed like a prophet. He looked at Chidindu, then Ezenaya. Young ones, the woman said in a voice that resonated deep in her heart. I have seen what you are about to do. It is not the right path. If you follow through with this ritual, you will regret it. The path you are about to take is dangerous. It will bring you wealth, yes, but at a cost, one you cannot fathom. There are things in this world that cannot be undone. If you walk this road, you will lose more than you gain. Chidu felt his breath catch in his throat. Fear gripped him as he looked at Ezenaya, his friend's face full of hunger for life he had always dreamed of. I can't do, Chidu whispered, stepping back. I'm not doing again. There has to be another way to make this money. Ezenaya turned to him in shock. What do you mean, Chiji? This is it now. This is our chance. We can't walk away now. We've gone too far. I am not doing this. I can't. I won't put my soul in danger for money. Ezenaya's face hardened, and for a moment, Chidu saw something cold in his eyes. You're just too scared, Ezenaya spat. You're weak. You will never get anywhere in life with this kind of thinking. If you back out now, you will be stuck where you are forever, living the same miserable life every day. Chidu felt a pang of guilt but stood his ground. I'd rather be poor and have my peace than rich and regret it every day. Just then, they sighted Eze's car across the road. He honked at them as Ezenaya waved at him. We are coming! Ezenaya screamed. I'm leaving you behind, Chidu. I can't live my life like a pauper. I want to be a billionaire. And with that, the two friends separated. What happened to Chiji? Eze asked. He said he can't continue, that he wants to die poor, he said mockingly. Congratulations, guy. You don't understand how rich you're about to become. This world will be under your feet. Because money rules the world now. Eze drove a little, then parked the car as they walked into the bush path approaching a shrine. You have come, Ezewani said in a low voice, her tone filled with something dark and inviting. I've been expecting you. Are you sure you want to go through this? Once you start, there is no turning back. Ezenaya nodded eagerly. Yes, I'm ready. I've never been more certain of anything in my life. Ezewani gave a small nod. Good. But listen closely, boy. There are rules. This isn't a game. If you break them, there will be consequences. Ezenaya listened closely as she spoke. First, before the ritual, she said, her voice growing softer. For 7 days, you will not bathe. You must stay alone, locked in your room, and avoid contact with anyone. This is important. Don't let anyone near you. It's a form of preparation, a way to purify your soul. Ezenaya nodded, his heart racing with anticipation. Second, Ezenaya continued, you must never ever come into close contact with a mad person. If you do, the ritual will be undone and you will lose everything. That will be your end. Do you understand? Ezenaya's eyes widened. Yes, I understand. Avoid them at all costs. Else, there will be consequences. Ezenaya swallowed hard, the weight of her words sinking in. I understand. Remove your clothes, she ordered. Ezenaya quickly undressed himself as the woman marked his face and body with a white chalk in her hands. Take these, she said, handing him 2 small calabash. Their surface rough and smooth at the same time. This is the key, she said. This is what you will use to draw the wealth to you. Tonight you will begin the ritual. She led him into a darkened room where a small fire was burning in the center. Around the fire were strange symbols drawn on the floor, their meaning unclear but undeniably powerful. Ezewani gestured for Ezenaya to sit in front of the fire. Place them on the ground in front of you. Focus all your thoughts on your desire for wealth, your hunger for success. Let it consume you. Ezewani sat down, his pulse quickening. He had never been this close to anything so powerful, so life-changing. His heart shook as he placed the calabash on the floor. Ezewani stood behind him, muttering incantations under her breath. The air around them seemed to thicken, and Ezenaya felt the heat from the fire intensify. His mind began to swell with visions of wealth, money, cars, a big house. His dreams were suddenly within his reach. Ezewani continued her chant, her voice growing louder and louder. She reached into a small bag and pulled out a mixture of herbs and powders, which she scattered into the fire. The flames rolled higher, casting long flickering shadows on the wall. "Break one calabash in the fire." Ezenaya took the calabash and with all the strength he could muster, threw the calabash into the fire as the flame roamed even higher. "Now," she said, "bring the other calabash." Ezenaya poured in a watery mixture into it. "Now," she said, "after 7 days, you must find a woman and sleep with her, for that is where you will draw your strength. But before you lie with any woman, take this," she said, handing him back the calabash. "Rub this liquid here on your body before you lie with her. The more women you sleep with, the more wealth will come to you. Remember, you can't give cash to your family and friends when it comes, because there will be consequences. Finally, don't let anyone close to you know your secrets, or the ritual will be undone." Ezenaya nodded, his mind buzzing with excitement. It seemed so simple. Just follow the rules and the wealth will be his. Ezenaya took a step back, her eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "Go now. The ritual is complete for tonight. Your life will change soon." As Ezenaya left Ezewanyi's house, he felt a rush of excitement. He had done it. The ritual was complete. All he had to do now was wait. The money would come. He could already see the life he had always dreamed of. Riches, power, respect. Ezenaya returned home early in the morning as the sun was rising. He was nervous and excited at the same time. He kept thinking about what Ezenaya had told him and the wealth she promised. "This is my chance to be rich," he said to himself, clenching his fists. For 7 days, he did everything Ezenaya instructed. He locked himself up in his room and refused to talk to anyone. He didn't bathe or let anyone come near him, just like she had said. On the 4th day, his grandmother knocked on the door. "Ezenaya, my child, are you okay? You haven't eaten and I haven't seen you in days." "I'm fine, Nene," Ezenaya replied, trying to sound calm. "I just need to be alone for now. Please don't worry." His grandmother walked away, shaking her head. She didn't understand what was going on, but she prayed for him every night. On the 7th day, Ezenaya was ready for the next step. He had waited anxiously for this moment, following every instruction from Ezenaya. Now it was time to complete the ritual. Ezenaya had never been confident around women. Growing up in poverty had made him shy and unsure of himself. He knew that finding a woman was going to be the hardest part of the ritual. After thinking hard, he decided to go to the brothel nearby. He packed the small calabash Ezenaya had given him into a bag and set out. When he got to the brothel, his heart pounded in his chest. The sight of the women chatting and laughing loudly made him nervous. He finally chose a short, slender lady and paid her with the little money he had saved from selling scrap. As they entered the dimly lit room, Ezenaya excused himself and rushed into the toilet. His hands trembled as he applied the whitish substance from the calabash to himself, just as Ezenaya had instructed. "This has to work," he whispered to himself. When he returned, the woman smiled at him, but Ezenaya barely spoke. He quickly completed the act and left the brothel without looking back. On his way home, he felt a strange sensation as if something was about to happen. When he entered his room, his eyes widened in shock. Lying on his bed were bundles of money, neatly stacked. "Money!" Ezenaya screamed. Throwing himself onto the bed, he rolled around, holding the bundles tightly. "Hey! Is this you?" he shouted, laughing uncontrollably as he threw the money in the air. The next day, Ezenaya wasted no time. He went to the boutique and bought new clothes, replacing his worn-out outfits. People in the neighborhood began to notice the change in him. Soon, Ezenaya stopped staying at his grandmother's house. He moved from one hotel to another, enjoying his new wealth and freedom. Strange things kept happening. Each time Ezenaya slept with a woman, he found bundles of money in unexpected places. Sometimes it appeared in his room, other times it was handed to him mysteriously. The ritual is working, Ezenaya thought, grinning from ear to ear. His confidence grew and he started attracting attention wherever he went. But deep down, he remembered Ezewanyi's warning: never come in close contact with a mad person. For now, Ezenaya didn't care. He was rich, and that was all that mattered. His life had taken a turn, and he wasn't looking back. Months passed, and Ezenaya's transformation was complete. He now drove a sleek car that turned heads wherever he went. With his flashy cars and confident demeanor, he looked nothing like the shy, struggling boy from Nekede. One sunny afternoon, as he cruised through the town, Ezenaya spotted Chijindu standing by the roadside under the shade of a small umbrella. Curious, he slowed down and parked near Chijindu's small POS kiosk. "Chijindu!" Ezenaya called out, stepping out his car with a bright smile. Chijindu turned and froze in disbelief. "Ezenaya, is this you?" Ezenaya grinned, spreading his arms. "Who else, oh, who else, my brother? It's me, long time," he said, hugging him. Chidindu's eyes darted to the car and then back to Ezenaya's expensive shoes and designer watch. He couldn't hide his surprise. "Hey, my boss, you're looking good, oh." Ezenaya chuckled, patting Chidindu on the shoulder. "You too, my guy. How is life treating you?" Chidindu's face fell. "Life hasn't been easy. I lost my job months ago now. They said I was always absent. I couldn't defend myself. That time we had to spend 7 days in the house. So I had to borrow money to start this POS business, but things have been slow. Customers are few, and the profits we make barely cover our debts." Ezenaya leaned casually against his car, listening. Chijindu, I told you back then, didn't I? If only you had followed through with me, things would be different now. Eh?" Chijindu looked away, embarrassed. "I know, but that woman, that warning she gave us, I just couldn't ignore it. It was really strong." Ezenaya burst into laughter. "Chicken heart. You let fear control you, and now, see now, still struggling while I'm here, I'm balling, living the life of my dreams. I'm a billionaire." Chijindu's cheeks burned, but he swallowed his pride. "Ezenaya, things are really hard for me. Please, can you lend me some money? I'll pay you back once business picks up." Ezenaya's smile faded. He stepped back, shaking his head. It doesn't work like that, though. If you want success, you have to work for it, just like I did. Heaven helps those who help themselves." Chijindu stared at him, stunned by his words. "But, we are friends. We are brothers even. You know my struggles now." Ezenaya's voice turned cold. "And I know you are weak. You had your chance, Chijindu. Don't blame me for your choices." With that, Ezenaya climbed back into his car and drove off, leaving Chijindu standing alone, hot and confused. As Ezenaya sped away, he couldn't shake off the memory of their friendship. Deep inside, he wanted to help, but the warnings of Ezewanyi kept him away. A small part of him missed the simpler things, but his greed drowned out the guilt. Meanwhile, Chijindu sighed and returned to his small kiosk, determined to find another way out of his troubles. Ezenaya's wealth continued to grow, but so did the shadows surrounding his newfound fortune. Each time he slept with a woman, something terrible happened. Some fell ill, bleeding uncontrollably, while others died under mysterious circumstances. Rumors began to spread, but Ezenaya brushed them off, enjoying his wealth and ignoring the warnings of fate. One evening, his wealthy aura caught the attention of Amaka, a young neighbor who had always admired him. Amaka, charmed by his flashy lifestyle, began to spend time with him, and soon they became close. "Amaka," Ezenaya whispered one night, "you deserve the best. Let's make tonight special." Amaka giggled, unaware of the dark fate awaiting her. That night, Ezenaya followed his ritual as usual, applying the substance given by Ezewanyi. Days later, Amaka fell terribly ill. She grew weak and eventually passed away. Her mother, devastated and enraged, began accusing Ezenaya openly. "You killed my daughter," she shouted in the streets. "You used her for money rituals." Ezenaya's once glorious reputation began to crumble as the whispers in Nekede grew. louder and louder. He decided to leave the town, moving far away to avoid the prying eyes and accusing fingers. While Ezenaya's life spiraled downward, Chijindu's fortunes began to change. After months of struggle, he applied for a grant from the Tony Elumelu Foundation. To his surprise, he was selected. The grant gave him the funds he needed to set up a thriving computer accessories business. Chijindu's business grew steadily, and soon he became one of the most successful young entrepreneurs in Nekede. With his humility and determination, he won the respect of everyone around him. Hard work pays, Chijindu would often say, remembering his rough beginnings. His family moved out of their tiny home into a better house, and his siblings returned to school. Years later, Ezenaya returned to Nekede to visit his grandmother. He parked his car near a market stall to buy some provisions for her. Just as he was about to leave, he spotted Amaka's mother, the woman who had accused him of her daughter's death. Her sharp eyes caught sight of him. Ezenaya, she shouted, her voice echoing through the market. You killed my daughter, murderer! Where are you? You pay for what you've done! Panicked, Ezenaya tried to avoid her, quickly crossing the road. In his haste, he didn't notice a madman standing nearby. As he brushed past the man, their eyes met briefly. Hey, don't touch me, Ezenaya shouted. But it was too late. The madman laughed, muttering strange words. Ezenaya's heart raced. He remembered Ezewanyi's warnings. Never come in close contact with a mad person. Suddenly, his mind felt heavy. His thoughts racing uncontrollably. He stumbled back to his car, his hands trembling. Before he could drive away, he began shouting incoherent words, drawing the attentions of passers-by. In a fit of madness, Ezenaya stepped out of the car, smashed the calabash he had once guarded so carefully, confessing everything. I killed them all! I killed the women! It was me! He screamed, falling on the ground. Weeks later, Ezenaya lay on a mat in his grandmother's house, his once vibrant body now frail and weak. Chijindu, hearing of his old friend's state, decided to visit. Ezenaya, Chijindu said softly, kneeling beside him. What happened to you? Ezenaya couldn't speak. You can't stay here. You'd come to my house, he said as he carried his friend into his car. Chijindu brought Ezenaya home to his modest but comfortable house. Ezenaya, once full of pride and arrogance, now lay weak and broken on a small bed in Chijindu's guest room. His once flashy clothes were replaced with simple, clean ones Chijindu had bought for him. Why are you helping me? Ezenaya asked weakly one night, his voice trembling. After everything I said, after how I mocked you, why? Chijindu sat beside him, adjusting the pillow under his head. Because you are my friend, Ezenaya, he said gently. I can't watch you suffer like this. We all make mistakes, but you don't have to go through it alone. Tears welled up in Ezenaya's eyes. You were right, Chiji. Although years ago, I should have listened to you. I thought I could take the easy way out. Look where it got me. Chijindu sighed, placing a hand on his friend's shoulder. Life isn't about shortcuts, Ezenaya. Over the following weeks, Chijindu nurtured Ezenaya with patience and kindness. He cooked for him, bathed him when he became too weak to move, and prayed for him every night. Despite the pain and regret etched on Ezenaya's face, Chijindu never left his side. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Ezenaya called Chijindu to his side. Chijindu, he whispered, his voice barely audible. I'm here, Chijindu replied, leaning closer. I don't have much time left, but before I go, I need you to promise me something. What is it? Chijindu asked. Please, tell people my story, Ezenaya said, tears streaming down his face. Let them know that these things lead to destruction. If I had your patience, your honesty, maybe things would have been different. Chijindu nodded, his own eyes glistening with tears. I promise, Ezenaya, your story won't be forgotten. Ezenaya smiled faintly, his lips trembling. Thank you. Thank you for showing me kindness when I didn't deserve it. Thank you so much. You're a good man, Chidindo. I hope, I hope your life is full of blessings, he said as he took his last breath. Chidindo buried Ezenaya in a quiet ceremony, standing alone by the graveside. He thought about their journey, how they had started as two young boys with dreams. I wish you listened, he said as he walked out of the graveside. The end. Wow, what a story. Ezenaya's journey is a powerful reminder that the choices we make can shape our entire lives. Before we go, I would like to know, what do you think about Ezenaya's regrets? Do you feel sorry for him? Or do you think he got what he deserved? And Chidindu, did his kindness and hard work inspire you? If you are in his shoes, would you have forgiven Ezenaya and taken care of him? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I love reading what you have to say. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who needs a little inspiration today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we come your way next time, remember, shortcuts to success often leads to dead ends. See you in the next video. Bye.